Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session from the Wise Asylum. What a weekend. I've been very naughty indeed this weekend. I invaded Yorkshire incognito, so I kept my wellies on, just not to upset the Yorkshire chaps and chapesses, so that they just thought, hey, he's one of us. So plenty of sheep up there as well, but I did keep my distance. I didn't want to join in, as it were. But so I went up there to meet two nutcases called Chris and Dom, and to watch Mark Devlin's presentation on the Beatles, which was exceptionally interesting. Of course, I knew a lot of it, but there were quite a lot in there that I didn't know. But I know now. So well done to Mark, a very good presentation. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And it was great to meet a lot of Yorkshire chaps and chapesses. I'm from Lincolnshire and all over shop, Ireland. So what a jolly weekend. And I managed to get out of there unscathed and alive. And I'm here. I'm here again on a Sunday to talk nonsense into La La Land, you know. It doesn't really matter what we talk about here. The wisdom of the Wise Asylum doesn't ever affect the La-Las or fruit bats out there in La La Land. It's just way above their heads, as we all know. But never mind. We don't really care about the fruit bats anymore, do we? We just focus on us and our nonsense. So, interesting tonight. So, in relation to what we've discussed in the last few live streams, specifically to reform and the Blues and Twos Credit Union. Important in that, in this charade of reform, they're making a big claim on taking power in the county councils. And it's very telling. So I'll recap anyway, so that people, if there's anybody on that's not seen it, it'll bring you up to speed at least with where we're at and where we're going. But basically, back in the 80s, when there was a division in the Tory party, you had the Tory sceptics on the European front that were picked up by James Goldsmith, if you remember, and the High Court Tories that were happy to go along with Europe. Of course, Maggie wasn't happy to go along into Europe, hence intelligence bombing the shit out of them in Brighton. So there were a big hoo-ha back in the 80s as relates to the treason, as it was known then, because there were still a lot of people around that understood this stuff. Because quite clearly, to go into Europe was in breach of Magna Carta. It was an affront to England on all counts. Nevertheless, Thatcher carried on and incorporated the nation and privatised everything that was important and demolished the unions and, of course, the mining industry. Because, of course, they had to break the back of the power of the North. That's what it were all about. Anyway, we're way past that. But basically, many years ago, when I was investigating UKIP, we found a guy called Harry Beckhoff, who was a Russian PVI, calling himself a Jew. PVI, for those that don't know, is purveyors of compound interest, because ultimately that is what it is that's wrecking everybody's nation and pulling in the capital demanded by said purveyors of compound interest. Of course, the main thrust at this time would be the new bank called the Mosque, which extorts its cash from its community, then lends it to its employees to expand its capital. So the balance sheet it extorts then gets spread to buy property and land around its little nest. And of course it's wrapped around with a religion. And that is the latest abomination that's running around, collecting a balance sheet on behalf of those that demand your property, your estate, basically your life, due to the fact the hoity-toits have been borrowing from the purveyors of compound interest. Oh dearie heck, but that's where we are. So back to the United Kingdom Independence Party. So this guy, Harry Beckoff, he took over the mantle on the Eurosceptic side, but in 2010 David Cameron made it very clear in his conference speech at the end that if it was not for the very same Harry Beckoff, the Russian Jew, there would have been no Tory party in 2010, citing the fact that this guy had helped them for 21 general elections. That's quite a lot of general elections. This guy were tied to Bletchley Park and heavily involved in high intelligence and has been enamoured for a long time, and he used to live in Marlborough. He's dead now, but we don't really care anyway. From what I've seen and what he did, he weren't a very nice chap, but everybody seemed to think he were. That said, they split, they captured the split from the Tory revolt, and James Goldsmith handed it basically to Harry Beckoff, who then handed it to a chap called Nigel Farage. Okay, now, just to point something out for some people that may not be just savvy with the crack, if we look at the title United States of America, well, that's synonymous with the fact that there are many states that have united, and therefore it's called the United States of America, not the United State, because that wouldn't be right, would it? That wouldn't be proper grammar, mother. However, seems to have been missed by the Blighties, in that, had it been the case that UKIP represented the uniting of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, then its title would clearly be United Kingdom's Independent Party. But alas, it ain't, it is the United Kingdom. Because clearly, what we know is it has nothing to do with the amalgamation of nations, it's a corporation. So, UKIP in its entirety wanted independence for the United Kingdom Corporation, and not, as people believed, and still do believe today, to keep the United Kingdoms independent from EU, UN, NATO, etc., etc. However, that died a death, and of course it's now shifted into a new gig called Reform. Reform UK. Oh, says I, because people are still believing it means we're going to reform the United Kingdoms. No, says I, and no, says its title. What it's actually saying is, we want to reform the corporation. Aha! There we get it, and now we can see the blag. Now, we've got Reform picking up the trumpet over there, the blonde bombshell over there in the United States of America. So there's a connection. We know there's a connection. It's all coming in on that score. We're all the right wing and we're going to kick up. Get rid of all these immigrants. Meanwhile, the trumpet is now getting flack because he's deporting less immigrants than Biden did. So what's going on there then? Well, of course, we know what's going on there. They're just keeping people fixed to left and right so that nobody's actually seeing what's really going on. They're just happy to emotionally just lie in the emotion that's brewed up out of the cauldron by speaking ill of the left. Look at what the left did. Look at what we're going to do against the left. We are just fantastic and amazing. And people miss the game. Right, so Reform. Making a big play on the fact that it's taken control of the county councils. Okay, now over the last few weeks, we've looked at a few things, have we not? Specifically, the Blues and Twos Credit Union. Now, the Blues and Twos Credit Union, which is basically a credit union, a financial union, serving only the police, who are busy pretending to be the constabularies, when of course they're not. They're private for-profit corporations, and they're now controlled by the Police and Crime Commissioner, who in essence is controlled by the corporate mayor. Okay? So, the police are corporate, the NHS is corporate, the prisons, all aspects now of government, local and national, are all incorporated. Therefore, they are acting and operating under the political system called fascism. And if you want to argue with that, that's fine. But you're arguing with Benito Mussolini, who was asked to define fascism way back in the day and said it should be more correctly called corporatism. When the corporations merge with the civil system, then fascism is in place. So, once the corporations and the rule of profit are running your domestic system, then your domestic system is operating under fascism. That's the civil side, it's the financial side, and it's the social side. All operating to the mighty king called profit. Okay? And of course, for the king called profit to rule supreme, your king has to be ignorance. So that's your monarch today, is ignorance. Not Fat Fingers Jolly Boy. He's a fake. He's not even a monarch of England. We don't have a monarch. He's off up there agitating, making love to the haggis, and shooting the little dicky birds, and flashing his kilt to anybody that wants to flash. With his Medici Moll, Camilla. And we have an aristocracy on England now, all tied in to the same family line as Camilla, through the Lennoxes, which takes us to the Medicis. The Medici. Holy See family, I tell thee. Oh, what's she all about? Well, girls, I want to be a princess. Me, I want to be Catherine de Medici, with a poison ring. Catherine de Medici ruled France from behind the scenes for decades. She married into royalty, outlived her husband, and controlled her sons like chess pieces. She's credited fairly, or not, with popularising the use of poison at court. Allegedly, wore a ring that could deliver it, and is rumoured to have kept a network of female spies called the Flying Squadron. Yes, please, says all them kind of girlies. Oh, ho, ho, ho. That's the family we've got running our land as the hoity-toits today. And they don't really care about England, because England's always been a problem. It's always been a problem, because of course England gives you the freedom if you can come through as a man, and it curtails the power of the crown. No other nation in Europe has that ability. The only other nation that's took that on, or nations, would be America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Oh, let's have a look what's happening at the moment. All those nations are all being attacked, flooded with subcultures, and our offspring are being encouraged to breed with said subcultures. And it doesn't matter whether you're white, or whether you're a native black here, or even a native Muslim. They don't care. As long as you all outbreed the freedoms that you're used to, called England. It's off the table, they don't want it. It's just disgusting to them because these are Bolsheviks. They're all Bolsheviks and they like to kill people. Or they like to get others to kill people. And of course they've set up Islam to try and carry that out. Luckily, there's around 15,000 or so presently employed soldiers in the old British Army who are pretty much saying, sod that, I think we need to be on Blighty, not under the command of these Bolshevik commanders. And it's been so since the First World War, when they encouraged all our lads to, George, get up out your trench and die. Oh, what a mess. And then, of course, the Second World War, not really about Blighty, it was more about bombing the living daylights out of Germany, annihilating the German race, and what were left of the Russians after the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917, which managed to kill over 60 million Russians, and of course then they imported all the Mongol horde, which is what Stalin was using. Very well. Anyway, that aside, let's get back to where we're at. Blighty, on England, here we are. So, Blues and Twos Credit Union. We've discussed this, okay? In 2008, ladies and gentlemen, Lancashire County Council, which of course comes under the Duchy of Lancaster, and has always been the monarch's own fiefdom, dissolved itself. It was dissolved, okay? All the assets and liabilities were placed into the Blues and Twos Credit Union, which is a private society, according to Companies House. Now, interestingly, I made a big fuss about this for a very long time. I even got stuck into the council here, Hyndburn Borough Council, and explained how that operates under the corporate system, i.e. profit. That would be Barnfield Construction as a 1/3 share, and James Stewart Neverson, who runs AMS Neve and fronts for Prince Charles, or the Crown. So we've found all that. I've shown it pretty simply. That is the blueprint, ladies and gentlemen, for how they've incorporated the entire nation. So, Blues and Twos, all the assets and liabilities of Lancashire County Council, that's your schools, that's your land, everything that's assigned to Lancashire County Council, upkeep of the road, collection of the council tax, because that's who your local council are collecting it for, doesn't exist. It exists in name only, just like Lancashire Constabulary exists in name only. What does that mean? Well, that means Lancashire Police are impersonating the Constabulary in their entirety. Nobody seems to care. Why? Ignorance is your king. You don't even know what England is. You think it's UK. You think it's British. British? That's an empire, ladies and gentlemen. It's also an occupation title. Oh yes, we've been under occupation for a very long time. They didn't tell you that, did they? They didn't tell you that in Dad's army. So nobody knows. Oh dear heck. Anyway, back to the important gig. So, ladies and gentlemen, the county councils, by a great deception, have been incorporated and now are in a charitable status. So we don't get to see anything that's going on in these borough councils anymore. Private society. But headquartered were, Lancashire Constabulary. Oh my word. So, all our assets and liabilities within our boroughs and towns and villages and cities included, because Greater Manchester comes under it, Merseyside and Cheshire. Oh, says I. No, not good. So, all incorporated, all the assets and liabilities are in a private club. We're not members. But if you work for the NHS or you work for any civil government institution, you can join in with this Blues and Twos. And of course, your pay packet will probably say Blues and Twos Credit Union. They're okay. Shh, quiet. Don't say anything. Don't rock the boat. Because of course they all think it's a separate financial system, and when the shit hits the fan, all these corporate fascists are safe. They can carry on going, no, you are horrible, and blah, 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 to everybody. Because they think they're better than you. And of course, this speech made up by, in the main, baby boomers. The very generation that grew up despising fascism and everything that went with it. Unfortunately, the mum and dad didn't tell them what fascism were, because they didn't know neither. And of course now the fascists on England are the very generation, and younger ones, you know, the offspring that were drummed into, you will be a fascist like me. All making up the fascist system that's on England today. The irony, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of it all. So, let's look at that again. Your borough councils are now fully incorporated and are in a private society, charitable status. You can't see their accounts. Run, enforced and administered by the equally private for-profit police. Now then, what does that tell you? It tells you that the fascist system on England in its entirety is being run by the corporate mayors, the police and crime commissioners, and every so-called constabulary on England. That is the fascist system. That is the Bolshevik nest. Fascism has always served Bolshevism. They are one and the same. And the deception, it feigns to be the de jure system, when in fact, it's just de facto. It's de facto, and while ignorance is the monarch, usually is the power. Because they're collecting on behalf of the PVIs. That's all they're doing. All of them. And these PVIs have called themselves many things in the time to stop you from outing them. They cry their eyeballs out. And they get reparations. The last, what they call themselves, Jews. Well, what's that? It's a banker. And it's a very recent term, end of 1600s, once they got Charles II on. Oh, the very guy that were putting the Medici clan all over the land. Ah dear, see, even Blues and Twos agree. See, they've just come through to sign it off. So, I keep going off track, but let's get back to where we need to be. And that is this. Reform the political system that's claiming to have power now in the borough councils, which of course are incorporate, they are private for-profit corporations, is the very political party, just like the National Socialist Party was when Hitler took it over, is the political party for the fascists. And we looked at it last week. They're very clear. They've demolished the Tories. So, in the original split and division in the Tories Eurosceptic side, they have managed to annihilate the real Conservative Outlook party belonging to us. And they're offering up this bag of shit run by Nigel Farage as the only game on the table. It is not a game we want to play. And you've got Tommy the Tit running around gathering the hooligans. You only need 5% to start causing enough trouble for the civil unrest. Out will come all those subcultures, the soldiers from Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Turkey that are in the hotels you're paying for. As we speak with the new deals done by Jimmy Savile's vagina and India. All those landlords in that agreement are very busy taking up Serco's offer to rent all their properties. And so, in reality, now that Reform have claimed that they own the control of borough councils, you're going to actually see less people in these hotels because Stevie Sells Vagina has just launched this Indian branch to take up circles, kick you out and put in these immigrants. And so they're going to go right directly into your community. Oh, there you go. You see how these 15,000 plus boys on blighted. Oh, and of course, Indian and Pakistani kicking it. So you Muslims born here, it's not even in your favour. It's not. Okay, so get a grip of that as well. Anyway, so, ladies and gentlemen, how are they going to achieve this fix of reform, pretending to be your political party when in fact it's a fascist party fully incorporated, not tied to any state law or state rule, no due process? How are they going to do this? Well, let's have a look. Let's have a little look. So I put this together today. Idiot me put it together this morning, then deleted it. And I had to do it all again. Poor me. I've had to work my little bottom off today. And I was very inebriated on Friday. The hangover still there. Anyway, right, stop mourning and crack on. Where are we? Oh, there we go. And the browser. It says electronic voting and the Eurovision Song Contest. You can't say contest because it's behind little old me. But never mind, you're not missing anything. So, interesting. This is the company that built the Eurovision app, which was used for online voting. Ooh. And it's got some flosses. Some celebs, and I haven't got a clue who they are, and I actually don't really care. But the celebs, and obviously the fleabags today, swoon at their feet. So I don't know who these people are. Anyway, Tahila Levi, national costume for Miss blah 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 blah, volunteer at kindergarten. So, as you can guess. Look, there it is. The usual suspect built this app for voting for fleabags. And of course, what better way to get the fleabags to start using these apps to vote? And of course, these immigrants. Stick it on Eurovision. Get the music. They're on. They're off. They're away. They're going to use it. They're going to do it. Hang on. What's somebody telling me here? We're getting told off. Make it smaller. Well, it's just that top one. It should be alright after this. If it needs to be smaller, I shall. It's just that top picture. I think I spread it too big in the document, so I get you. But I think we should be alright for the rest of it. Right. So you're getting the gist of it. An app's been created. They're encouraging all the youngsters and the immigrants to use it. And at the moment, it's just for voting for the garbage called the Eurovision Piss Contest. Oh, sorry. Eurovision Song Contest. I keep forgetting them. I'm getting a bit naughty today. So it says, Grok Now, this has been formed by an associate of mine on the old Twitter. And she's used AI. So she's asked AI certain things, and this is what it's pulled up. So Grok, I assume, is the AI that she's used. Of course, I won't use AI. I'm not inviting it into the computer because I've watched Terminator. Right? Anyway, it says, there's no specific data available on the exact percentage of Eurovision 2025 votes cast, though the official app versus other methods like phone or SMS, it's worth noting that the app is heavily promoted for voting, offering perks like exclusive artist messages. Can you see? Get them celebs in, and kids are away. What percentage of the Eurovision vote was by the app was the question. There's no... Oh, I've just said that. It's worth noting that the app is heavily promoted for voting, offering perks like exclusive artist messages, and is used by both participating and non-participating countries via www.esc vote for the latter. In the UK, app voting redirects to a mobile shortcode, costing 15p per vote, same as phone calls. Without official figures, it's reasonable to speculate the app has a significant share due to its accessibility and global reach, especially for the rest of the world. Vote, but no precise percentage can be confirmed. If you want, I can dig deeper into related voting patterns or check for any new posts on X that might hint at app usage trends, says AI. Ooh. So, in 2024 App's Flyer study on Eurovision provides indirect clues about app usage during the contest. It noted significant spikes in social media and betting app engagement during the broadcast. Well, I'm not surprised. Any advert on television today is about betting. While not directly about the Eurovision app, this suggests high mobile engagement. With peaks during key moments like jury vote announcements, 42% spike in social app use, and the winner's performance, a 38% spike, the Eurovision app combining voting and social features likely benefits from similar real-time engagement. And there is a link if you wish to expand that data. Of course, I'll put this document under the video after. Insights from web sources. A 2012, it analysed 12 million app sessions across 1,600 apps in key markets, UK, Spain, Germany and France, and noted significant spikes in social media and betting app engagement during the broadcast. Is that what I've just read? Yeah, it is. I'm getting worse. I think it's just such a happy that I've come back safe from Yorkshire. You know what I'm saying? It's a dangerous game, Lancashire lads going over to Yorkshire, if you're not incognito. So I think I'm still a little bit, so that's my excuse anyway. You don't have to believe me, but I'm not really bothered anyway. The study also highlighted the TV usage complemented the second screen usage with Greece, 68.8% TV audience share. The UK, 56.3%, and Germany, nearly 40%, showing strong engagement. This dual screen behaviour, watching on TV while interacting on mobile, implies the Eurovision app is a natural hub for voting and social interaction, potentially capturing a significant portion of televotes. However, without specific metrics, we can only infer the app's role is substantial but not dominant, as phone and SMS remain options. That's still big percentages, let's be honest. So, Choicely press release Eurovision Song Contest built their new mobile app with a no-code platform. Incredible flexibility. The Eurovision Song Contest ESC, the world's largest live music event, has renewed their mobile app in time for this year's event in Malmö, Sweden. The app was built using Choicely's no-code app platform. Kais Meskanen says, CEO Choicely, build powerful mobile apps without coding. The wait is definitely over. Download the Eurovision app powered by Choicely for the best Eurovision experience. Choicely, the wait is over, yeah. The first semi-final lights up Basel, Switzerland at 2100 CST, featuring 15 countries competing for a spot in the grand final. Stay connected with the official Eurovision Song Contest app, powered by Choicely. Get the app to explore all the songs, make your own rankings, get to know the artists, and keep up with the latest news, it says. The study also highlighted that TV viewership is complemented by second screen usage, With Greece 68.8% TV audience share, the UK 56.3%, and Germany nearly 40%, showing strong engagement. So I've read all this. I don't know what I've done today. See, I'm still fretting. I'm still fretting from at least happy to have escaped from Yorkshire. Anyway. So voting patterns for 2025 show familiar trends. Voting patterns and app influence. Voting patterns for 2025 show familiar trends. Regional bloc. Nordic, Baltic, ex-Yugoslavia often favour each other, driven by cultural and diaspora ties rather than pure politics. For example, Cyprus and Greece consistently exchange high points, and Germany, Turkish diaspora boosts votes for Turkey. These patterns, analysed since 1957, suggest public televotes, including app votes, reflect shared music markets and migration more than jury votes. The app's global accessibility, especially for the rest of the world, voters could amplify diaspora voting as fans in non-participating countries like the USA or Moldova what Eurovision voting patterns could... Where does that end? Oh my, they're just links. My apologies. Okay. Right, so there's a load of links. Okay. Anyway. The app's rolling... See, the fact that I had to do it twice, I didn't even really get a chance to focus to what it's saying. I just know that it needs to be... I just know the importance of this is in the sense that they are... Forget about us older ones. They're just interested in the young fruitcakes who are obsessed with your telephone, obsessed with apps and celebrity. And, you know, Jimmy Savile's vagina made it clear in his portfolio before he got into power that he wants to implement voting for 16-year-olds as soon as possible. Preferably in his first year, he said. So we can see that they're trying to sideline the older generations and completely fix this corporate political system, i.e. reform, by getting the young ones to vote and the immigrants. Remember, these immigrants are getting paid a lot of money. They're going to do as they're told because that's the contract. Okay? So if police ring them up and say, vote for this, they'll vote for this. Alright? You've got to get this gig. This is why this is so important. And it gets more interesting. The app's role in televoting is likely significant for younger, mobile-first audiences and international fans. But phone and SMS voting remain prevalent, especially in countries with less smartphone penetration or stricter regulations, e.g. San Marino, which lacks an independent phone network. In 2025, the grand final's 50.7% audience vote versus 49.3% jury underscores televoting's weight, but the split across app, phone and SMS isn't disclosed. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It matters in the sense that this app is controlled completely by the priesthood of compound interest, which is completely and utterly taking over the United States as we speak. But ultimately, any vote cast that's not on a paper that somebody else then counts is dangerous. And that includes postal votes, which most of the old timers have been doing for quite some years. Critical examination. The lack of precise vote percentages is a notable gap in Eurovision's transparency. Organisers release detailed jury and televote points post-contest, but don't break down televoting methods, possibly to avoid scrutiny over potential biases, e.g. app accessibility favouring wealthier nations. The app's flyer data, while insightful, focuses on broader app categories, not the Eurovision app specifically, limiting its applicability. Ex-posts are too speculative to trust without verification, and fan enthusiasm for the app may overstate its actual vote share. The EBU's pan-European response platform ensures vote integrity, but the classified methods for detecting bulk voting raise questions about whether app votes are weighed differently or more prone to manipulation. Why else would they want it? Conclusion. Without official data, I estimate the Eurovision app likely accounted for 30 to 50% of televotes in 2025, based on its prominence, second screen trends and global accessibility, though phone and SMS still play major roles. This is a rough guess, as no source confirms exact figures. The app's influence is strongest among younger fans and the rest of the world voters, but regional voting patterns, e.g. block voting, are driven more by cultural ties than the voting method itself. Now bear in mind, in this year's just gone Eurovision piss contest, Blighty's got quite a big vote from the panel and got 0 from the public. Now, who's controlling that? Oh, is it the priesthood of Compound Instead? You damn right it is. We've got backdoors and everything. So what's that telling you? Complete control through this app to ignore your vote. That's important. The apps, yeah, I've done that. I can monitor X for new posts over the next few days or simulate voting scenarios using historical data to refine this estimate. Let me know. So that's AI talking to my associate there. Now, the EBU's Pan-European Response Platform, okay, ensures vote integrity. Yeah, right. Who owns that then? Oh, would it be the priesthood of compound interest? Goddamn right it will be. But the classified methods for detecting bulk voting raise questions about whether app votes are weighted differently or more prone to manipulation. Yeah. The Pan-European Response Platform, PERP, is a system developed by the EBU's official voting partner, DiGame, to process and count televotes during the Eurovision Song Contest. It handles millions of votes submitted via phone and SMS from across Europe, ensuring fairness and preventing manipulation. Yeah, of course it does. The entire process is monitored by professionals. 77 Brigade, Unit 8500. Yeah, they're professionals. Professionals, snoops. And those that do war by deception. Yeah. Can you see why the monarch is ignorant? The entire process is monitored by professionals in the voting control centre. Oh, well, I believe it. I believe! In Cologne, Germany, and overseen by independent observers. Independent of what? What are they independent of? They might not be the priesthood, but the purveyors of compound interest. And overseen by independent observers to guarantee compliance with the rules, according to Eurovision TV. The Pan-European Response Platform PERP is a platform used to process televotes in the Eurovision Song Contest. We've done that. I keep repeating it. Sorry. Right, the CEO of DiGame, a company specialising in digital strategy and marketing, is Lilia Arroyo Flores, who also serves as its founder. She has a background in leading Latina strategy and has worked with various global brands like P&G and Walmart. Walmart, oh, what a lovely company. Oh, I feel safe. Additionally, Lilia is involved with organisations like the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, HACE. According to DiGame's website, Lilia is the founder and lead strategist. Oh, by golly. Lilia's LinkedIn profile also identifies her as the founder CEO of DiGame LLC. Oh. Karen Ashworth McFarlane is the co-founder and CEO at DiGame. Founder and lead strategist. Lilia Arroyo Flores is a leading Latina strategist who's worked on global brands. We've done that. Oh, no, we haven't. P&G, Walmart, Pfizer. Ayo. I wondered when drug dealers were going to enter the fray. Honestly. Comcast and Anne and Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital. Well, surprise, surprise. Now we're seeing where it's going, aren't we? Oh dear. We believe marketplace inclusivity is essential to brand relevance and growth. A bit about us. In Spanish, die game, pronounced D-game. Oh. D-game. Oh, it's not die game, it's D-game. Means talk to me. It's an invitation to pull up a chair. Let's have a conversation. Founder and lead strategist Lilia Arroyo Flores is a leading Latina strategist who has worked on global brands, including P&G, Walmart, Pfizer, Comcast, and blah, 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 Children's Hospital. Previously, she held the role of Chief Strategy Officer at Havas Chicago EVP. I Head of Planning and Consumer Insights at Edelman, and Lead Strategist at Leo Burnett. She helped create award-winning work for Kellogg's, Mars, P&G, oh my God, and Coca-Cola. God, this girl's a proper purveyor of compare interest here. Previously held role of Chief Strategy Officer at Havas Chicago EVP, Head of Planning and Consumer Insights at Edelman, and Lead Strategist at Leo Burnett. Ooh, what's that? Pray tell. Columbia College, Chicago. Oh, have we got a new Father of the Dead from Chicago? Lilia Flores. Well, look at the state of that. Would you trust that with your grandma? Lilia Flores, adjunct professor of instruction. Biography. She's an adjunct professor in brand strategy. Lilia is a mission-driven bilingual business, and organisations and brands can tangibly improve work. Why have I not done that? I've not even... It's the Yorkshire effect. She's worked with Fortune 500 companies, including their brands while delivering several prestigious stages, including... Yeah, we've done that. We already know that bit. So my apologies. That's me black on that. Right, now I think we are just going to have to pull it in just a touch. There we go. You were right, whoever sent that message. My apologies for being naughty. Right. In 2000, Warwick L. Carter became the college president. Through 2010, under his leadership, the college created new student-based initiatives such as Manifest, the annual Urban Arts Festival celebrating Columbia's graduating students at Shop Columbia, a store where students can showcase and sell their work on campus, partnered with local universities to construct the university centre, purchased new campus buildings, added new curricula, and oversaw the college's first new constructed building, the Media Product Centre. Have I missed an image here? I think oh, Columbia College, that's right. Right, sorry. Recently, the college has a growing programme of international exchanges, including associations with Dublin Institute of Technology, Dublin, the University of East London, Health Central, and the Lorenzo de Medici Italian International Institute. Oh my word. Poison, I tell thee. Poison. And them dealers of a dictionary here. Oh dear. Oh dear. Though the vast diversity of students and graduates, the school brings a rich vision and a multiplicity of voices to American culture, encouraging students to author the culture of their times, which is what teacher told them it were. And Lady Gaga and all them spastic bitches running around pretending to be celebrities. And some of them might even be males. Can you believe it? Can you imagine bending that over and there's a thing sticking out on the side? The shock horror. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's keep it clean. It's Sunday. However, Columbia has not been exempt from internal and external criticism in recent years. During the 2011-12 school year, the college administration attempted to implement a set of sweeping changes to the college curriculum, staffing policies and overall institutional structure through an initiative dubbed Blueprint Prioritisation. As the specifics of the changes and cutbacks came to light over the course of the school year, students and faculty from affected departments and majors vocalised their opposition to the cutbacks by staging protests during administration meetings. Mic checking interim provost Louise Love during an open hearing about the proposed cutbacks and circulated petitions calling for certain decisions and even the entire process to be reversed, citing union busting practices, consistent tuition hikes and frequent unexplained personnel changes across the college, of course, when they weren't taking it on. They didn't want to abuse the youngsters. Previously held the role of Chief Strategy Officer at Havas Chicago EVP, Head of Planning and Consumer Insights at Edelman, and Lead Strategist at Leo Burnett, just to remind you. Now, Nicole Junkerman is in this. Interesting. So there she is, Archie's Brutal, a very, very, very intense researcher. So she says Nicole Junkerman plus the Edelman networks. Funny how The Guardian, this is a newspaper, with all its claims to be the UK newspaper of the environmentalists, never mentions Nicole Junkerman. So there's Junkerman Randy. I don't know, that's all I could pick up with that because that's all the picture was. So there's the Flossie. And of course, she's now an expert in all things cryptocurrency, just to give you insight. Mooring Common Board member, Mayada Boulos. She is currently the CEO of the French advertising and communications agency Havas Paris, a position she has held since September 2022. That's a Notice Junkerman link. That's a Nicole Junkerman link. And then we have Mayada Boulos. Mayada Boulos is a widely recognised summer expert, CEO, advertising communications, blah, 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 blah. Something to do with Prime Minister Jean Castor and Emmanuel Macron. That's all we need to know, and she's senior director at Havas. Now, them pictures came like that, so it's not me this time. I must have got over me Yorkshire trauma. And that's a little bit blurred. She's wild and right. Yep. So whatever that is quite blurred, that. So my apologies, chaps. And there she is, looking slick. Now, who'd want to bang that? It looks like a fella. Do you know what I'm saying? Only one of them strange creatures would want to bang that, because it does look like a fella. Anyway, I'm just glad she weren't there this weekend. PERP ensures that all votes are counted according to the contest rules and detects and mitigates any attempts to unfairly influence the voting. So what happened this week? Panel gave the girls from Blighty big score. Public gave them nothing. Nothing, I tell thee. The voting process is live monitored by professionals. Oh, I feel so much better than professionals. Pros they are. In the voting control centre in Cologne. Do you trust anybody that lives in Cologne? I don't know, because I don't know anybody that lives there. Germany, EMG Studio 8, Hearth Korn. Now, EMG's big gig in the old music. Schaff ESG 2005 to a semi-final. EMG, blah, 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 host, Barbara Schoenberger. Schoenberger! That name is definitely synonymous with a PCI. Wouldn't you agree, ladies and gentlemen? I say definitely. Yeah, but anything burger, Schoen, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, we know where that all comes from, don't we? The purveyors of compound interest. Ha ha ha. EMG Germany GmbH until October 2021, Nobiorg GmbH is a TV service provider for studio, field and post-production. The company is the German subsidiary of the internationally active Euromedia Group, EMG, headquartered in St. Denis. Just remind. Every time I see something like EMG, it just reminds me of Isa from the Two Little Brothers. The German company's headquarters are in Herth near Cologne. There's a link. EMG Germany, a TV show, blah, 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 blah. We've done that. EMG Germany site includes eight TV studios with 80 editing stations. Mobile control rooms and outside broadcast vans enable recording or live broadcasting of outside productions. EMG Germany also offers a compact outside broadcast van in the form of a converted minibus, which enables live streaming and productions with up to 8 cameras. Founded in 1993, René Steinbusch, another PCI, look what we've got. Sales volume 7.6 million euros. TV production website d.emglive.com. Send them an email and call them names. I'm only kidding, don't do that. Nobiorg's customers include television production companies like Brainpool, I&U TV, Filmpool, ProSieben Sat 1 production, as well as broadcasters such as Sat1, RTL and ZDF. EMG Germany, then known as NOB Deutschland, was chosen as the location for the first 3 Big Brother seasons. Can't believe it. Well, I watched a bit of that diatribe this year. Poor Mickey Rourke. Poor Mickey Rourke. It was founded in 1993, Deutschland GmbH, and was at the time a subsidiary of the Dutch media service provider NOB. Oh, so the NOB isn't German, it's Dutch. In 2004, NOB was taken over by the Dutch company United Broadcast Facilities, UBF. In 2007, NOB Deutschland GmbH was renamed NOB Studios. Was renamed Nobiorg GmbH. UBF merged with the French company Euromedia Television in 2007. The resulting Euromedia Group, based in Bray-sur-Marne near Paris, is, according to its own statements, the largest provider of TV production resources in Europe. In 2008, the company employed 1,400 permanent staff in Germany, the Netherlands, France, Belgium, Great Britain and Switzerland, and achieved an annual turnover of 313 million euros. Since October the 1st, 2021, Nobiorg has been operating under the name EMG. Oh, it's not what I thought it were then. So I'm going to shut up. It's not music gig that I'm thinking of. It's the trauma. It's the Yorkshire trauma. I'm sorry. René Steinbusch, PCI. He became the CEO of EMG Germany 222, and following the merger of EMG and Gravity Media, continues to lead our German operation, and there's a link. EMG Steinbusch lost Hof ab. René Steinbusch übernimmt die Gesellschaftsführung. Somebody's going to be telling me off tomorrow for pronouncing German bad. EMG, there they are. And there they are in all their glory. That's a nose. That's a PCI nose if I've ever seen one. On the left. There he is again. René Steinbusch. After joining EMG in 2009 as an organisation and HR, René became the Chief Operating Officer at EMG, as well as covering other areas of the business, including HR and commercial. He became the CEO of EMG in 2022, and following the merger of EMG and Gravity Media, continues to lead our German operations. René has Master of Science degrees in Economics and Sport. I bet he's never kicked a football in his life. Gravity Media. EMG and Gravity Media combined forces. PCIs, look, there they are. PCIs in the suits. 11th of the 1st, 224. The boards of directors of EMG, one of the leading global providers of broadcast services and media solutions for live sports, entertainment and events, and Gravity Media, a global provider of complex live creation, production, and media services, today confirmed the completion of a definitive agreement to combine their businesses. The combination of the complementary businesses creates one of the world's largest and most significant broadcast technology and production companies. By aligning their strengths, expertise and resources, the enlarged group will deliver an unparalleled range of media services and solutions to clients worldwide. This is going to get big, you can see. The new venture, which will be formally named in due course, will have significant global capability, including more than 100 outside broadcast trucks and fly packs and 40 studios and production facilities across Europe, the Middle East, United States and Australia, which will be part of the new global business. The business will have 30 offices across 12 countries with a total of 2,000 permanent employees and access to a global network of freelance personnel. Just look at that. Europe, Middle East, United States, Australia. We know they're in Germany, we know they're in Holland, and they're in UK. This is how foreign forces, in contradiction to Magna Carta, are completely and utterly implementing the corporate gig. And this is how they're going to make sure the equally private for profit corporate pretending to be a political party reform are going to be fixed into place. So it's not that the population are getting rid of the Tories, it's this shit, this shower of PCIs. I really hope you can see what I'm saying here. EMG numbers 10 countries, 30 years of experience, plus 15 key events, 21 companies, plus 1,500 employees. So, 10 countries: France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, United Kingdom, Switzerland, Italy, Luxembourg, USA, Australia. Why is it not in Kazakhstan, or Turkey, or Russia, or China, or Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan? Why? Why is it just especially for us? Especially for you. You know what I'm saying? You see this gig? This is how the small hats are playing. And it's the young flea bags that they're doing it. You've got to get a grip of your flea bags' minds, people. Edelman Eurovision. Let's have a look at these Johnny-come-latelys. Right. Samueli Edelman, a Finnish actor and singer known for his work in film and music, including a hit song that gained popularity during the Eurovision Song Contest period. That means it was a shit song. Alexandre Edelman, head of Presence Switzerland, Switzerland's official communications agency abroad. Pierre Edelman, a French film producer who worked with directors like Pedro Almodovar, Bernardo Bertolucci and David Lynch. So he's shit as well. Edelman Company, a global public relations and marketing communications firm. Without more context, it is difficult to determine the specific meaning of Edelman Eurovision. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Another dealer of addiction. Novartis Ireland launches patient choir contest to celebrate Eurovision 225 sponsorship. There's a link. Novartis Ireland launches patient choir contest to celebrate Eurovision 225 sponsorship. March 20th, 225. It's proud to be an official sponsor of the Eurovision Song Contest 2225, hosted in our headquarters city of Basel, Switzerland from May the 13th to the 17th. So it's in their headquarters. It doesn't have to let them images from 2012 Olympics shine, doesn't it? You know what I'm saying? The big monster and all the cots and To mark the Eurovision Song Contest sponsorship, the Artist Island is today launching a contest for patient group choirs. Designed to celebrate music's therapeutic power. Choirs such as the Forget Me Nots Choir, which collaborates with the Alzheimer's Society. Oh, fuck's sake. So they're going to have all inmates that are Alzheimer's conditioned singing. That shall be fun. I'd like to see how they're going to get them all in tune with right lyric. Oh my word, now that would be hilarious, I actually think. They're probably doing that for crack. And nobody else gets to hear the song. The Irish Cancer Society and Relay for Life Survivor Choir, of course, they're going to be trying to get your money off you. To add to that 800 billion a year they take to not remedy you know what. The Irish Art Foundation's Rhythm of Recovery Choir, Rhythm is a dance, yeah, are taking part. Patient choirs who would like to participate in this event can contact patient choir. So, how long are these patients in for? And are they just in there taking beds up so they can sing their song? Their own song, because they've all got dementia and Alzheimer's. How would you keep lyrics together with that? It's just not happening, is it? You're never going to hear these songs. Former Eurovision winner Charlotte McGettigan and Professor of Music Therapy Hilary Moss at the university. Oh my golly. The dealer of addiction is proved to be an official sponsor of the Eurovision Song Contest 2025, hosted in our headquarters city of Basel, Switzerland. Yeah. Patient choirs who would like to participate, yeah, there you go. Give them a bell. Well, are them lot with Alzheimer's going to be able to write that down? And what kind of a conversation are you going to have with them when they do? That'll be interesting as well. Football, well, it had to be in there somewhere, didn't it? Good grief. That super game for all the retards to wallow in and not care about anything else. I can't read that. So it's football. That's all you need to know. It's football, which had to be involved somewhere, didn't it? The effectiveness of the war on drugs. Oh, the war on drugs becomes obvious once you tune in to a Eurovision intermission song praising Swiss inventions. Among them, LSD. Oh, well, by golly, maybe they've got all them Alzheimer's patients inquiring on LSD. Then they might be able to sing in tune. Maybe we've cracked it. Maybe it's time to drop the hypocrisy. Oh, tested by us. LSD cool vibes, made in Switzerland. Well, and 2 flosses. That's a strange jumper she's got on there, I have to say. I think this whole thing is strange. It's all very fitting. La Svizera Fornisk Lefrova She Hano Devro LSD. Oh, look at that tongue. What in the world's that? It's a strange shit. She's got to be a muff muncher, hasn't she? I mean, the only thing that's going to fit around, think about it. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a muff muncher. Former Eurovision winner Charlie McGettigan and Professor of Music Therapy Hilary Moss at the University of Limerick. Oh my God. Will act as judges during the competition. Professor Moss has conducted extensive research into the therapeutic impact of music of the Alzheimer dementia choirs and LSD. Well, I mean, look at that top. You'd have to be on LSD, wouldn't you, to wear that? And then, yeah, okay. Now then, music. Eurovision Song Contest, Charlie McGettigan and Paul Harrington, Dublin. What did they do into Ireland? That's why, it's because you're in Europe. Ireland's entrance in the Eurovision Song Contest, Charlie McGettigan won and Paul Harrington hug each other. Oh. After their song, Rock and Roll Kids. Was voted a runaway winner in Dublin. So this is a previous gig. Ireland have won the contest 3 successive years with this latest win. Photo by Martin McCullough. PA images, Getty. Look at the 2 beards together. How lovely. Oh, dear me. Charlie McGettigan said, and this is important because Charlie said, Ireland has a long association with the Eurovision. We have won 7 times, and this year marks the 60th anniversary of Irish entries to the song contest. Reaching this milestone demonstrates the enduring power of music to bring people together. Dan Wooten, oh, another Irish boy, said, and he's a GBN boy, Israel beats Ireland. That public vote was about standing up to the likes of Greta Thunberg and the satanic queer witch who, without irony, backs Palestine, where they would be locked up or put to death. What a ride. Oh, look at that. La, la, la. The PCI's flag. We are flossy. Give us your money. Give us your estate. It's all going into the no-hide. No, you're not having it. So, who are you, Dan Wooten? There he is. GBN News, the Sun's Dan Wooten. Oh, look. He likes Caroline Dion, the Queen's cousin. There he is. What an ugly critter. Oh, grief. GBN. Who runs GBN? Well. We've talked about this guy before, but I bet you weren't paying attention. Paul Marshall was, or maybe still is, the CEO of ARC Absolute Return for Kids. Now, I won't go through these, but I might go through one, actually, because it's interesting as to why they're obsessed with kids. Now, ARC Absolute Return for Kids, I think we should probably do it, shouldn't we? I can't do it there. I have to do it here. Right, we will go through them quickly. Now, I'll just check that that's come up. ARC Absolute Return for Kids. This was the Supremo spearhead for the incorporation of all our education under the Academy agenda. And look who its patron is. Now, interesting though it is, however, everybody is totally obsessed with Andrew, who paid 15 grand for 3 sessions with a 17-year-old Flossie. That's called prostitution. We don't need to get excited about that because the legal age is 16. So Andy's just a little bit of a randy Andy and he's a bit naughty and he likes him a little bit young. And he's a very naughty boy. However, this operation is a giant paedophile ring. It's a giant paedophile ring, and I tied it to the Dutra affair. How about that? Okay? So, where am I? Oh, I've lost it. I've lost my gig. Well, I'll tell you what it's done. Oh, I see. All right. Oh, and that's gone right to the top. Well, that's a bit naughty. My apologies. It's going to do that every time. I can. Oh, flipping heck. I'll tell you what. I'll not do that. I'll do this instead. I'll do something else so that it doesn't keep doing that. My apologies. Oh dear heck. It is. It's the trauma of being in Yorkshire. Right. Now then. Oh, he's done it all by itself anyway. EIM Group, European Institute of Management, Absolute Return for Kids and the Dutra child sex abuse scandal. There you go again, there's the patron. Everybody's concerned about Andrew, but this is the gig. This is where it's on. That's plenty of info here. Now that video there, this one here, the second one, you get that, and it shows you that EIM takes you straight to Dutra. And EIM is a part of ARC. Okay, now Arpad Booson resigned when we did that. Way back in the day. Maybe 2010 or something like that. But I just want you to get the gist of what this shit is. What's really going on that with these bums that are now trying to control all the voting. Now, Paul Marshall, right? He's not just the financier at GBN. He's not just the chairman of ORC. He's also a big part of Satanic Alpha. You know the Alpha course? It's took over all the churches. The Satanic Alpha course. That's exactly what it is. So it's interesting just to go through this. I'll put these up obviously at the end. But of course they're going to be on the thing. You know, there's Paul Marshall. Yeah. And now in the hands of these Alpha evangelicals is the Doverton Trust and the Trussell Trust. They're controlling the food bank agenda. Now, I edited that about 2008 when they kicked it off, and it caused uproar with all flosses that were in these little backstreet happy-clappy satanic churches. Oh, it's not! Well, I can tell you now, everything I said has come to pass. Everything. There you go again. There's the video that you need to see if you want to just show it. It's not a joke. Orc Academies is a giant paedophile ring, and it's even tied to Dutra, which is snuff. They kill kids. Yeah, kill them. And it was the aristocracy that were doing it. It's a high-end paedophile ring. Now, I'm just going to go through this one here. Well, actually, we might go through a couple, but what I want you to get a grip of here. Now, this is a book from an associate of mine called Rolly Post, and she wrote a book about Romanian orphans, basically exposing the fact that they weren't orphans at all, and which family were heavily involved in this. Well, you guessed it. Fat Fingers and Longhead and Nick Mother. Yeah? But what I want you to just... we'll just have a little look at this piece. In the book, page 135, it says the Idle West Winners singing competition for children in Kerr. Singing competition. Yeah? So this connection between kids and singing, all this stuff, this is a method by which they're grabbing these flea bags. Told the audience about their experiences in child protection. One girl said how she remembered a foreign journalist came to her children's home who threw hands full of sweets on the floor and took pictures when the children were crawling over each other and enthusiastically picking up the sweets. After the meeting, we showed some of the children websites of adoption agencies with pictures of Romanian orphans. Full of disbelief, they watched. One of the girls recognised some of the girls that had left her children's home about a year ago. She did not know why the girls had left or were to. They simply had not been there anymore. In general, there was a lot of coming and going in children's homes, okay? Basically, the thrust of that book is showing that they're not orphans. They've been stolen from families in Romania, put in these institutions for the elites to play with. And the Windsors have been very, very, very not only involved in it, but they funded it. There's just two more here, we can have a quick look. But this is programming changes about the destruction of the family, psychotropics, music and technology. And of course that's Saul Alinsky. Anybody that's a bit well versed with how this communist system works, you're going to know it. But that's an interesting... Now somebody's decided that none of these videos anymore are allowed to be up on this site. So they've all been... okay, rules for radicals, you're probably aware of that if you've been in this game for a while. But it goes through quite some interesting points. For instance, what happened to Sid Vicious? Nancy Spungen was connected to a sinister chap called Harley Flanagan. Flanagan brought the skinhead scene to New York after shaving his head in Northern Ireland. His mother was Rosebud Feliu Patet. Flanagan had been influenced by Allen Ginsberg from the age of 1. He was connected to CIA and Jimmy Savile, Jonathan King, Gary Glitter, D.D. Ramone, Henry Rollins, Allen Ginsberg and Andy Warhol. And Jeffrey Epstein's in there too. So Rosebud Feliu Patet hung out with Ordo Templi Orientis Aleister Crowley. The New York Dolls, Velvet Underground, Tex Flanagan, Gerard Malanga, The Factory, Andy Warhol, The Fugs, Gerard Malanga, Simon Patet, Denise Mercedes, Harry Everett Smith. Harry Everett Smith connects with Ginsberg, Barry Miles, Charles Stanford Jones, David Johansen from the New York Dolls and Harry Smiths. Hotel Chelsea and the Deaths, Jean-Luc Godard, Ordo Templi Orientis, Surrealism and Naropa University. All these linked with the beatnik Allen Ginsberg, who links with Jello Biafra. One of my old favourite bands, Dead Kennedys, UK Underground, Chumbawamba, Bob Dylan, Crass, Candy Darling, Bobby Driscoll, Beck, Patti Smith, Hells Angels. Timothy Leary acted as a consultant for Billy Idol for Idol's 1993 Cyberpunk album. James Arthur Grohl, father of Dave Grohl, with connections to Skull and Bones through Robert Taft. Chicken Hope Men Who Love Boys, North American Man-Boy Love Association, Rockland Psychiatric Centre, Youth International Party, Situationalist International, Gem Spa, OSS, Office of Strategic Services, the forerunner to the CIA, Langley Porter Psychiatric Institute, LSD 25, New Left, the Veterans Administration Hospital in Palo Alto, Veterans Hospital Menlo Park, the Lindisfarne Association, Hollyhock Institute, and the 14th Dalai Lama, who has not reached enlightenment because I saw him crying his eyeballs out while fleeing Tibet. So he hasn't conquered attachment or fear, just so you know. Joyce Johnson, Glassman interlocks with Sting, Russell Brand, Graham Hancock and Daniel Pinchbeck. And Margaret Mead, anybody that's well-versed with the intel knows exactly who Margaret Mead is. Margaret Mead interlocks with the Beatles, ANU, Australian National University, ASOPA, Australian School of Pacific Administration, Columbia University, Ford Foundation, Fordham University, Coming of Age in Samoa, National Research Council, the New Schools for Social Research, Aquarian Conspiracy. Dave Grohl interlocks with Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Scream, Them Crooked Vultures, Kurt Cobain, Jack Black, Hank Harrison, Probot, 930 Club, Sound City, Kathleen Hanna, Simon Townsend, Virginia Jean Hanlon. Dave Grohl backed Skull and Bonesman John Kerry for president, dedicated an album to his campaign. This was when Kerry stood against fellow Bonesman George W. Bush. So Bad Boy and Shit songwriter Grohl is about as far from being anti-establishment as I am king of the world. That's me being facetious. There is also info around linking Grohl to the Paris bombings. Kathleen Hanna interconnects with feminism, Le Tigre, Riot Girl, Bikini Kill, Ad Rock, Gloria Steinman, Kathy Acker, Red Stockings, Rape 2 Times, The Punk Singer, Fierce Funny Feminists, Planned Parenthood, The State Will Plan Your Choices of Parenthood, I said. Gloria Steinman interconnects with Debbie Harry, Blondie, and former Playboy Bunny. Barbara Bush, The Man. Zbigniew Brzezinski, puppet of David Rockefeller, and he set up the Mujahideen in Afghanistan and was a mentor to Barack Obama. Cord Meyer, CIA, she was a Playboy Bunny, ever the feminist. So yeah, big feminist was a Playboy Bunny. Independent Research Service and Smith College, Jello Biafra interconnects with Alternative Tentacles, Amnesty International, Allen Ginsberg, Timothy Leary, Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Keith Levine, Penn and Teller, Pussy Riot, Butthole Surfers, and Gibby Haynes. Gibby Haynes interconnects with Freddie Haynes, Major General, Jerry Haynes, Johnny Depp, KPMG, Flea from the Chili Peps, King Kofi, Jeff Pincus, Paul Leary, Timothy Leary, Trinity University, Texas, and P-Band. And Hank Harrison was the father of Courtney Love and manager of the Grateful Dead. He wrote a book blaming Courtney for Cobain's death, claiming she was part of a high-class private jet flying commune. All of the above interlock with the gay scene, paedophilia networks, intelligence and psychiatry, and on. Courtney Love is a direct descendant of Douglas Fairbanks. Sid Vicious was stabbed in the Hotel Chelsea, a serious piece of intelligence theatre. The amount of celebrities and pseudo-heroes that have used this hotel speaks volumes. Now that is an interesting piece I put together quite some years ago, but it really does sort of... And then we've got one more. Magic Mushroom and the Fake Evolution. So all this is interlinked. All of it is just intelligence systems. So we got the punk rock, we go through Thatcher, biological attack, British, blah, 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 blah. Scopolamine, which is the drug that they use when they're spiking you quite a lot. And suggestion, it's a suggestogen. And they've actually tried to add it to some of the chemtrails in the past. A substance or substances formerly known as hallucinogens, psychedelics, or entheogens, schizophrenogens, psychotomimetics, psychotropics, psychoactives, adaptogens, empathogens, fantasticants, enactogens, psycholytics, and many other various names that have been used historically to suggest a person to someone else's will, often do evil while under the influence of such substances, which generate hypersuggestibility in the taker. Hypersuggestibility is so increased by such substances that their mere name can affect the outcome of the experience of their use, hence suggestogens. Historically, in the 1950s and 60s, such substances were used in an attempt by men such as Aldous Huxley and Gordon Wasson, along with the CIA's MK Ultra program, to recreate the biblical fall. So that's one of the substances they use if you're being spiked. And basically you'll do whatever they tell you. One must consider that the hardcore move against that. No, we're not doing that. Frankfurt School, Gregory Bateson, Alistair Crowley, Thelema, Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, Book of the Law, Subverting Reality. And this is the major conferences which would spawn MK Ultra. And specifically, MK Ultra Subproject 58 was launched on the Time magazine front cover of the 13th of May in 1957. And as Mark Devlin made clear in this weekend's presentation, 1957 is exceptionally important in this launching of LSD, drugs, Beatles, all these super bands, especially the Beatles. A very interesting lecture it was indeed this weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed it. UNESCO, Religious Crusades of the CIA, Religion and Drink, Dr. James Moore, Geschichte Fund, Huxley, Gordon Wasson, United Nations, Masham Wasson, Alan W. Dulles, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Albert Hoffman, Aldous Huxley, who was the controller of MK Ultra. The Devils of Loudon, 1952, Edward Bernays, Propaganda, Damaged Goods, Sex Magic, Timothy Leary, Mellon Family, Society of Jesus, Al Hubbard, Cord Mayer Jr., John C. Lilly, Ken Kesey, Peggy Hitchcock, Ramdas, Richard Alpert, Esalen Institute, LSD, lysergic acid, Wendy Doniger. See, it's just on and on and on. But this what we've just looked at today is this, but in today's the Leipzig Connection, very interesting piece, and Mission Mind Control 1979. These. If you're interested in mind control, how they've done this, how they're controlling everything, and how they're setting about controlling your kids, what we've just looked at today is what they're doing, how they're doing it today. And it's all aimed at your offspring, like it was in the 60s, and the 80s, and the 70s, and the 80s. So, Professor Moss said, singing connects people across all cultures, creating community and reducing social isolation. There is growing evidence that singing in groups boosts immunity and lung function, improves mental health and reduces pain perception. And that's Hilary Moss, Professor at University of Limerick. And that's a piece on the University of Limerick, which is not good. And then we wish all participating choirs the very best of luck with your Alzheimer's, said Catriona Walsh, Managing Director and Country President of Dealer of Addiction Ireland. And Catriona Walsh, Dublin, County Dublin, Ireland, Trinity College, Dublin. There you go. And as we continue on the road to Invest Future Health Summit, so it's all about health. I think we are indeed seeing just to what degree this is going to be a medical dictatorship, ladies and gentlemen. And it's all aimed at you flea bags. So, what do you reckon? To that diatribe. But, more importantly, you can see that this app system, it's not just the one we spoke about today, but what I'm trying to get across is the system itself is the method by which they're going to be able to fix whatever political party they want. And Reform UK is not a de jure political party. It is the political party acting and operating for the corporate system. So that's your corporate MERS, your corporate PCCs, your corporate police forces, and your corporate county councils, right down to your corporate town council. And Reform is going to be the political party they want to get in place. They're not getting rid of immigrants, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming out of the hotels because the Indian branch of the empire, on the back of Jimmy Savile's vagina's latest deal, are emptying their properties and taking up Serco's offer. Can you see how politics works? That's how it's going. That's how it's playing out right now, all around you. And if you understand that, you are right up to speed with the spell being cast by the PCIs right now. And keep that on board, keep that at the back of your mind. And any action you may carry out in the future with that in mind, you'll be hitting things correctly. And not just hitting diversions that they've set up for you to follow. Right, who's joined us? I know it's a lot of data, and I know it's probably not important to most people, but it does complete, in essence, what we've been looking at over these last few live streams in relation to Reform, Blues and Twos, etc. So I hope that does make sense for interested parties, but at least we've put it there now. It's there to break the spell, should anybody want to watch that at a later date. So, Mark says, evening Sean and all evening Mark. Kerry says, love from Ireland, love back to Ireland, Kerry. Slipknot gives you alright Sean, alright everyone, evening Slipknot, Lorraine, evening everyone, evening Lorraine, nice to meet you this weekend. Benefactor, I Sean, the Wise Asylum team, enjoy. PY Music says, evening all, evening Paul. Paul says, good evening Sean and fellow mates, evening Paul. June says, evening Sean and chat, evening June. Lorraine, evening Sean, evening Lorraine. Mark says, evening Lorraine. Had a great weekend with Dom and Chris and Mark Devlin this weekend. Yeah, we're good, weren't we? I did. Big E, everything Sean and fellow fruit bats of this World Asylum. Fellow fruit bats of this World Asylum. Hope you are all well and ready for... Fellow fruit bats of... We're not the fruit bats, Big E. What are you playing at, you button? Oh my God, you can tell you're from bloody Devon. I don't know. I want to rephrase that, Big E. It's very naughty. Mark says, I'm good, thanks. Yep, okay, LFX. Blah, blah, blah. Evening, LFX. Mew says, hello, Knights and inmates of the White Salam, I Sean Lorraine and Mr. Oatford. Evening, Mew. Thanks for the lift and such and everything else. It was a good gig. LFX, yep, nothing's changed in the last half hour. Right. Evening, Sean on screws and inmates, says Jerry. AMG, evening Sean and all our mutants and Slumpy Jane. Evening AMG. LFX, Sean and all talk wrenches. Welcome to anyone who's joined the Wise Sound for the first time from the Sheep Farm weekend, says Mew. Yes, good evening to anybody that might have joined us. The Tackle Bay Tourists. Cuddle Hove, Calergipan, Coudenhove. Yes, indeed. Paul O'Neill says, no notification, but I blame me, Sean. Goes live same time every week. We do. 9 o'clock every Sunday, we go live. So get a notification or not, you know we're on. If not, I will make sure I'll let it be known in the Sunday morning on the account so you can see it. DJ from HA, evening Sean and all. Bit late to the party, doesn't matter. Evening DJ. Benefactor says, Edelman is commonly recognised as a PCI surname. In PCI communities, Edelman is often of Yiddish origin. Well, there, surprise, surprise. A non-Semitic language. Thanks for that, benefactor. The name can be derived from the German word edel, meaning noble. So Edelman roughly means nobleman. Knobman, I think. Benefactor says it was sometimes adopted during the time when the PCIs in Eastern Europe were required to take on surnames, often choosing aspirational or descriptive names. Thank you for that, mate. MGBH for your eyes, says LFX. Knob, haha. Yeah. Renee Steinbush is the head knob, yes. All this big noses, yes. PCIs. Dawn Brownie says, good morning, beautifuls. Good morning back to you, Dawn. LFX, Knobhead Bush, I'm sure I've heard that before. Dawn says, Anglospheric only. Mark says, remember the NHS advert with the song The Rhythm of Life performed like a theatre production on stage? I've forgotten everything about that. Nonsense, my good mum. And the phrase, just get the thing. Big E, one must maintain a sense of humour in this day, my friend. You're a bad one. This is not the place of the fruit bats. Have we not worked it out? This is the little den for the non-fruit bats. The wise wisdom seekers. I don't know. What you know that? You know that Devon bloody cider? You know that cider, don't you? Anyway, of course, we know what you mean. I'm just riddling you. Right, so well, that's good. That's that done. Anyway, I think I've got a bit of gig here to have a look at. Off we go. Oh, I just thought I'd continue with the uproar that I caused with the Napoleon bus last week. Here are some more. Anne of Bohemia. Anne of Denmark. That's a PCI nose if I've ever seen one. Elizabeth of York. It's a flossy. She looks a bit weird, doesn't she? A bit witchy poo. Henry VII. The Stanley puppet of Pallavicini. Fornese. Marie Antoinette. It's like a fella. Mary Queen of Scots. She looks quite a body lass. Her bust's better than her picture. Anne of Bohemia. That's a PCI conch if ever I've seen one. Look at the size of that. Oh, we've done them, haven't we? That's it. We've done them. And look at the size of that conch. That's a PCI if ever I've seen one. Right, that's that. What else do they have? Oh, well, we all know about that, so we'll not do that. Ta-da! Right, looks like we're done. We're done. Good. Early finish. That's good. I can chill. Right, chaps and chaps. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Thanks for taking part. Mods, thanks for modding. And I'll see thee. Where are we? What is it? Till the next time.
electronic engineering,